All right, let's see if we can do this. Yeah, there we go. That is what Thursday sounds like. I had to go to the office for the first time in a long time this week. 2 days. Um, and let's just say that, man, commuting sucks. Mr. Caleb, as well. I mean, I guess Brian's been going back into the office. Well, Mark too. Actually, I think me and you were the last two to go
I
back
think we
into the
are.
office. So maybe you shouldn't have been the first person I brought in. But man, it was eye opening this week. Like I kind of had that same feeling of you. Like we used to do this every day and then go out afterwards.
Right? I mean, I've been back for like a month, and like this is like the first, like I'm tired, but this is like the first week of the month where I've worked and haven't like struggled to stay awake on the couch past like 6:30. Like, so it's an adjustment. I don't know how I used to do that shit pre-COVID.
Stephen Fox saying that I discovered what 6 a.m. is. Yeah. So the worst part about today was I had a 7 a.m. meeting, and I had to be basically on site by like 6:30, just because we needed to make sure the room was open and stuff because we had like 20 people in the conference room, and so I literally left my house at like 5 in the morning to get to the train at 5:15, and like it's just like pitch black outside, and I'm like, I don't know how people do this like on a daily basis. This is ridiculous. Like at least like when I start going back into the office on a regular basis, I'll probably be starting around 9. Um, and honestly, most of like the history behind me starting so late is because like I like the commute. So I'll probably be having to be leaving the house around like 7 to get to the office by around like 8:30. So it's not gonna be awful, but man, these last 2 days, like tomorrow working from home is gonna feel nice. So um let's bring Brian in. So Brian, um you're doing the opposite, right? You might
I,
be
I've
you
worked with, yes,
you've been going into the office, but it sounds like at a certain point you're gonna be just back at home, right?
possibly. We'll see what happens. I think I've had a total of 5 work from home days since COVID started. So neither of you get sympathy for me. The commute has been there for the last 2 years. You guys just chose not to use it. Also, 20 people in a conference room. Yeah, I'd say COVID's done in by your work, Josh. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean it's a big conference room too, but we're at a hospital, so everyone's all masked up and vaccinated and all that stuff. But yeah, it was just a rough couple days. But
It gets better, fellas.
speaking of rough, Mr. Mark Capitan, how
How's
you
it going,
doing?
Josh? Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Doing good.
Yeah.
Fuck, I thought it was Ryan Dickey tonight. This is bullshit.
See, I'm gone for 2 weeks. You guys found a replacement ginger and somebody a replacement ginger who's both smarter and better looking than I am, and then just a second guest who's just plain way funnier than any of us, like all three of us combined. So,
I mean,
I just assumed I'd never be invited back.
Yeah, in fairness, I think Andrew made us all look bad. So I thought Andrew was all wrestling memes, but apparently the man knows how to present on camera. And big shout out to both Ryan and Andrew for helping us out and hopping on. We'll be bringing people on. Andy Villanueva at some point will be on the stream. We're gonna have a short, I guess we can say production meeting during the show right now, but Caleb, I'm thinking you'll have to let me know about the status of date night. But I think a good time to have Andy on will be March 26th, which is I guess 3 Saturdays from now, because you know what that is.
It's Louisiana Derby Day.
You know what else it is though.
What is it?
There's only one thing better than Louisiana Derby Day. That's Texas Champions Day. That's Texas Champions Day. I know Andy's a huge fan of Sam Houston, so Caleb and I still have about 15 or 20,000 outstanding dollars to take out of Sam Houston from Texas Champion Day. So we'll see if maybe we do something fun that night. But yeah, it's been a week, and we got this is kind of like a weird time. Like we got Tampa Bay Derby coming up this weekend, and then I think next week we don't have anything, right? If I remember correctly, I think next week is like a really just like weird off week where there's like no real Derby preps. Let me just double check here.
Is UAE Derby next week? I mean, all of that's really one that anyone cares about.
Yeah, Dubai is in 2 weeks.
Oh, 2 weeks. Yeah, you're right. There's just absolutely nothing next week.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of listed stakes and stuff. So
I'm sure Santa Anita is going to run 4 horses on Saturday.
Well, yeah, I mean they run 4 horses every
They
Saturday.
might do it more than once even.
But yeah, so maybe we'll do something different for next week. But for this week, I figured we'd kind of focus in on Tampa, talk a little Azeri at Sam Houston. I wish it was Sam Houston at Oak Lawn. And what do we got? We got about 9 minutes to post here. Race 6 at Turfway Park. So why don't we start there? Why don't we take a look at this Turfway race real quick before we get in? We got the last 3 at Turfway as per usual. We got a nice maiden claiming 30, which is just the best of the best of synthetic racing here. As per usual, we have a nice big full field. Looks like we got 11 horses entered. We got any scratches here? Looks like we scratched the 8 and the 11, the 1, 8, and 11. So still got 8 horses, which Santa Anita hasn't seen in about 6 months. Yeah, your current even money favorite on the board right now is the 2 Musical Cat. Was 2-1 in the book. Mark, I don't know. Did you get a chance to look at this race at all? Was there anything you liked here?
I did not get a chance to look at this race actually, but if I was going to be betting it, just looking at optics plots, I'd probably be using a lot through the 2 and the 7. Those seem to be your major players. You get Corrales in the 7 at 5-2, and then you get this 2. Both of them seem to be horses that kind of fit what works here run profile wise.
Caleb, did you take a look at this race at
Yeah,
all?
I took a look at it. I mean, it looks like they're really pounding this 2. He's down to even money. I mean, on Figs, he looks like the horse to beat, getting a huge class drop here. The 7 always shows up, and you get Corrales. I mean, 5-2 is nothing to get excited about, but the horse makes some sense as well. I mean, I have a pick 4 going, and I have both of them covered. I also have less coverage, but I do have the 5 and the 10 here covered as well. The 5 here is 15-1 in the book, 8-1 right now. This was the only horse I trust to actually, hopefully, possibly, potentially show speed. I know speed isn't always great at Turfway, but this horse didn't run bad in debut at Mahoning Valley. Missed a bunch of time, but now comes back here in what seems like a pretty soft spot. So I thought the 5 was a little interesting, maybe from a pace angle. And then the number 10, who ran like a horse that just needed that start last out, coming off of a 1.5-year layoff. I think second off the break here should be a little sharper. Jimenez sticks on board, and the horse ran a pretty even race last time. So willing to give this horse one more shot here. Just looking at the results from today, it seems like most of your winners are coming outside. I think every winner has been in the 6 post or wider so far through 5 races today. So I might try to beat this 2 if I'm going to play something vertical here and try to use horses like the 7 and 10.
Brian, you got anything here?
I do. I'm going to take the chalk with an all exacta for $2. That's all.
Oh God. All right. Well, apparently we have Brian Starr, I was gonna say the Fuber capper. I don't know, Fubar capper maybe. But Nick really likes the 7 here. I don't really see much wrong with the 7 here. We draw Corrales aboard for Ben Colebrook. I think the Fig 2 back, that race 2 back is probably wins here. There doesn't seem to be a lot of horses that have shown much in here, and like I said, you get the top jock here. He's cooled off a little bit since the start, but being posted outside, closing run style, even sprinting, it seems to have been be kind of the place to be. And we got a little baby Z pattern here, a little checked. So,
any love for the 3 here? I was a horse that kind of fit on optics as well that no one's talked about. Finally getting, I realized they've been to maiden claiming 30 once before, but finally getting back to what's probably the appropriate level, and a horse that, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't necessarily put on top, but loves to clunk up in the exact other try, it seems like. At a bit of a price.
For this race, I thought the 3 was a little too closey type, right? There's not enough early pressure, not enough pace, unless the 4 or the 5 really send and try to force the 2's hand early. For 6 furlongs, I don't think the 3 is going to get there, but double digits was I thought about it.
Yeah, I looked at him for a second. I mean, he didn't handle the synthetic at all in his only start across the surface. He also didn't handle the turf at all, kind of in his only try on the turf. So I tend to think, he's got some good races, but he just might be a better dirt horse.
Yeah, I can't really look much past the 7. I think I'm with Nick here. The 7 should probably improve off that last one and run a little bit more back to the race 2 back. So I think the 7 should win this one pretty handily. I mean, maybe the 2 is just the best and wins from the inside post, but I kind of agree with Caleb that it hasn't seemed like the inside's been the place to be, and I think you have been wanting to come from a little bit off the pace. I mean, there is no speed here except for maybe Caleb's 5, but yeah, I'm gonna have to put a little bit of win money in the 7 here. Let me get that in here real quick. I did see a question in the chat before we move on.
Hey, is somebody squelching or is that me?
I believe somebody is.
Sounds like a printer or something.
Yeah, you're scanning something, aren't you, over there?
Who?
Mark?
Oh, Mark.
Yeah, I think Mark's scanning something.
Yeah, it's me. Sorry, scanner on the background.
Who has a scanner? Are you 65 years old?
No, but his father needs something scanned.
My father needed something scanned. Sorry.
Don't you have a scanner at work, Brian? Come on.
I do. His name's Bob.
But I did want to touch on something from chat here real quick. We don't really need a PPs for this.
To get the close up. I like it. Thank you.
Yeah, Stephen Fox saying, can we talk about the CA jockey exodus? Is CA racing done in a year? Like do you think that's what's going on? Why don't we start with the ginger, Mr. Mark Capitan? What are you thinking here, Mark? Mike L. Capitan? What are you thinking here?
California racing done in a year? No. Do I think that you're seeing jockeys going to better pickings and bigger purses and trying to make connections with, somebody not named Bob Baffert? Yeah, I do. I think that is exactly what you have going on here. And I don't think it's a death knell for California racing, but it's clearly not good for the quality of California racing. You're probably also seeing a little bit of people. I think people gave the whip rules a chance, but jocks feeling like, hey, I can't get my horse to perform how I want to, and I'll go someplace where maybe I can.
Pretty one. What are you thinking,
Brian? I agree with Mark for the most part. I don't think it's the end of California racing. I think it's bad for California racing. But I think I know we have suspensions and whatever else to deal with for Baffert, but I don't think California racing goes anywhere as long as Bob Baffert's willing to run his, 7-figure horses in those 4-horse fields. Might be a crappy betting product, but I don't think it goes away anytime soon. As far as the jocks moving, I mean, I think it's a smart move for Pratt. I think he's shown he can compete at the highest level. I love Rispoli. I don't know that I love this move for him. It kind of feels like he had a chance to be the guy out west, and now he's going to be, 8th in the pecking order in an already very competitive jockey colony where he doesn't really have a lot of inroads quite yet. I mean, Pratt already had some of those connections with Chad Brown and a few others, but other than a couple of Mike Maker mounts, where Spolo doesn't really seem to have the same connections established. So I hope he does well, but I'll be interested to watch and follow him and see how he does out there.
Ellis Jr.
Well, I think the horses are going to be interesting. They're going to be short price with Pratt aboard, Rispoli aboard. But neither one of them is named Ortiz or who's the other guy, Rosario. I do agree with Nick. I think Ray Lewis should go west, take his book west, leave Texas, leave the fairgrounds, and go exploit that colony. Because, the way Ray Lou rides, I think would be fantastic. But, it's one of those things, is California racing going to die? No, it's not. It's just going to become Founder Park, California.
Nick Feldman bringing up a good point that Rispoli's agent's going to be Junior's agent, and Junior's moving to Kentucky, so he thinks that maybe Rispoli's going to get quite a few Mott mounts.
He actually had some Mott mounts at Keeneland this past spring, so
that would make sense. That'd be a good fit too. I think
it'd probably be a great
fit. Get some Belmont mounts.
Yep, and Road Warrior kind of bringing up the same thing. Also, I do have to point out that apparently Ryan Hauer is currently on a beach in Hawaii, and for some reason has decided to watch us. I believe Murphy also made the same decision at one point, so he wouldn't be the first one, but it is a questionable decision, Ryan. I do have to say.
In all fairness, they're looking at the horizon. They saw Mark's head and thought the sun was setting.
See, that commute was already worth it, Brian.
There you go. Oh, man. Ben Wilkie saying Ramon Vasquez is also planning on coming up to New York at some point.
Oh, look at this. Look at this race.
Yeah, this race did not set up the way I thought it would.
The two struggling to get there.
Yeah, Corrales got on the engine, huh? I mean, he's scrubbing on the 2 already. And Corrales is looking pretty chilly on the front end. And
I think the 2's catching. I can't tell.
Either the seven's ahead by 4 lengths, or the 2 is passing him. I can't tell.
7's going to hang it.
Yeah, 7's going to hang. You son of a...
There you go. I tried to tell you guys, you take the chalk with all for the exacta. I'm probably going to profit 77 cents. Pretty excited.
You could have just taken the 2 chalks like Mark picked and just boxed them.
I didn't want to use anything defensively. I'd rather just use all and give my money away.
Oh, hey, look at the bright thing, Brian. You're a 2 all exacta hit.
That's what I just said. He's not listening to me, is he?
No, not that time.
This is the first time I've used this angle.
You weren't speaking in caps, so he...
Yeah.
No, yeah, you hit the exacta. You hit 2 all, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But I was going to say, Mark just used the 2 and the 7. You just needed to box those 2. You would have saved some money.
Well, not all of us can eat all the chalk. Some of us need to take all.
That's true. Nick's saying the 7 just puked. Yeah, it was that was rough. And Ryan, no way. This is great on the wrong lead. Well, he's just OTW and a nice view, but we'll keep Caleb on the big screen. That way, you at least get a little bit of view there. Yeah, so we got, obviously we're going to have about a half hour here, so why don't we try and tackle a couple of these Tampa races. We're going to start here in race 7, the Hillsborough. Grade 2 for fillies and mares, 4-year-old and up, going 1 mile and 1/8. Your favorite here, I believe, is Bleecker Street. You also got a nice short price in Lady Spite Spear here at 5-2, Rocky Sky at 9-2, Runaway Rumor at 6-1, and then everyone else kind of at double digits. Mark, since this is your home track, and like you're home away from home, and I don't know, you just love Tampa Bay Downs. I'll let you start here. What are you seeing here in race 7?
Yeah, I think first off, I think the morning lines are a little bit wonky. I think by the time we get to post, the 3 Ladies Fight Sphere should end up being your post time favorite. She's just run way faster her last like 3 or so races than anybody else in this field. Right run style for Tampa. She's going to be somewhat forwardly paced either on the engine or just maybe sitting behind the 9 who might decide to go and try to clear. I think she's your most likely favorite here. I didn't want to get super creative in the spot. I think you can sort of build around her. I had some other price plays in here, but I'm interested in seeing what you guys think. I just think Ladies Fight Sphere, or if it has Fight Sphere, is just very hard to get around in the spot.
So, I mean, you think she'll be a favorite over the horse that beat her pretty easily last time with Chad Brown? Like, he's pretty good training turf horses, right?
That is true. He's a noted turf horse trainer. Yes. I honestly think you can kind of excuse that last. Didn't have the best of trips. I think Emma was a little bit wonky on a ride. I just think the 1 runs better. The 3 runs better this time back. I mean, I don't hate the Chad by any means. It's just I don't know. I one of those Chads that I sort of want to try and beat.
Somebody in this chat told me that Chad at Tampa is not Chad's top horses. I don't remember who it was.
I mean,
it sounds like something I would say, but I don't remember saying that.
Sounds like something I would say too. I mean, Chad's 45% of the meet right now, or than the meet so far. So, his horses are winning at a high percentage. But I think if this was a legitimate monster, they would be running on the other side of the state.
Okay, Brian, you got any thoughts on this race?
Go ahead, Brian.
So I thought the 3 at first glance was the horse to beat here, but the one I think is a little interesting is the 1 Lovely Lucky with Paco. It, needs a few things to happen to really have a shot. I mean, 6-year-old versus 4-year-old. If you like older women like Mark does, perhaps this is the horse you're looking at. It's one of those things where that last race wasn't impressive, but nobody here is one of those horses that says, "Oh yeah, I love this horse." Even if you're a figure person, you look at Lady Spitesfere last race. Sure, it's a grade 3, but the Briz came back at 86, which isn't head and shoulders above this field, but you're going to get head and shoulders below pricing or whatever that's called. Damn. But anyway,
in overlay, are you going for overlay?
No, the 3 is not an overlay. The 3 will be underlaid if you went by speed figures alone. Thank you. So why not take a shot? The 1 looks at the type of horse that's going to sit just back, maybe 2 or 3 lengths back. If Tampa's turf is playing closer friendly, then I think the 1 gets first run on some of the deeper closers, and Paco's a smart enough jockey to keep her out of trouble.
Paco's smart enough to keep her out of trouble, but he can't keep himself out of trouble.
He's not Kent.
Ooh.
Or
is
Robbie.
Is Paco going to get on this? Actually, be on this mount?
Yeah, because it's a graded stakes.
Okay.
So his suspension doesn't matter.
Yep.
But he's serving his suspension, so he can still ride in the graded stakes because, of course, why wouldn't you be able to? But he can't ride.
You don't want to be punishing owners now, and that would, because they're special people.
So I think he's still riding these. He's still got the mounts on these. Did you have anything else to add, Caleb? I know you started kind of talking.
Yeah, I mean, I really just wanted to poke at Mark more than anything. But I guess, PDT brings up a point that I was going to make. It's really, really, really hard to win Tampa turf routes on or near the lead. I mean, it's a very closer dominant track. I think Ladies Spitespear found that out last time, and I think the same thing happens. I mean, I think she gets a comfortable trip, but I think that she's just not good enough to beat these kind of grade 3, grade 2 horses in America. She's undefeated at Woodbine. winless since coming to the States. So I think Bleecker Street is your most likely winner. I mean, the horse is undefeated. It's Chad Brown. I'm not going to overthink it. I think Runaway Rumor is the second horse I would use. I think, Nick Feldman also kind of likes this horse as well. This horse has some really strong 3-year-old form against some pretty nice 3-year-old turf fillies booked up in New York. Lost by a neck to Fluffy Socks, went up against Technical Analysis a few times, Spanish Love Affair. Those are all nice 3-year-old fillies. So if she took that development from 3 to 4, like you would expect her to do, then I think this is probably the one horse that I could be interested in at a decent price.
Yeah, I mean that's basically who I was on. I was on the 7 here, Runaway Rumor. Just trying to get on somebody other than the 2 Chad Brown horses. I am not interested whatsoever in Lady Spitesphere. I mean, the horse is basically, as distances have gotten longer, she seems to have kind of regressed a little bit. So I'll just kind of I'll take a fade on that at a short price. I mean, the horse, if the horse runs back to some of those Woodbine figures, fits into here. But I'm gonna look at recency and I'm interested in this 7 off the layoff. I think that if the horse runs anything back to like the Sands Point, that's probably the best race in this entire field. So we're hoping that we see something closer to that and get a little price here to start the sequence.
Hey, dumb question, because you say run back to the Sands Point. That was a career best effort for this filly. So was that the anomaly, right? Because that was a huge effort. So if you say, okay, October is huge, November's a bounce, now the layoff, I mean, you can't expect this horse to come back and run that kind of race again, right? I mean, 6 to 1, maybe 4 to 1 at the gate enough to take that?
Oh, this horse will definitely not be 4 to 1 at the gate. With 2 Chad Brown horses in here, both these Chads are going to take money, just on name alone.
You forget that Tampa is the they know track.
Yeah, and they know who Chad is, and he wins at 45%. So,
and you're saying you hope a horse runs back their career best, like it's an obvious thing. I'm just throwing something different out there.
I mean the thing,
6-1 morning line. You're hoping this horse can repeat a career best performance.
I mean, to be fair, and there are not any. I don't think there are any monsters in this field. Right. So I think even if the 7, runs back to any of its like 3 or 4 fastest races last year, I mean, is at least competitive in this field. Like, and you're gonna get 3 times the price on this horse as you are on the Chad Brown horse. So, I think it presents the most value in the race, but.
Before we move on to the next race, we kind of briefly mentioned Rocky Sky, the 6, the other Chad. Any love for this one? Obviously something went very wrong in that the Saratoga Oaks Invitational, and I thought it was kind of interesting that Chad took a massive shot with this one first time in the States. Obviously broke its, the horse broke it. Well, it's broke its maiden over a synthetic, but had a win prior to that on turf. But long layoff, Chad's pretty good. Seems an odd spot. I mean, obviously this isn't the, A-tier Chad, list, but anybody think this one is actually might be kind of super live in this spot if this is the second tier Chad, or is he just trying to get this one a race?
Jay thinks it's the Rabbit.
Well, they're both Peter Brandt owned horses. I mean, it wouldn't be impossible. I don't know what to do with Rocky Sky. I mean, the horse was never really expected to be much in Ireland. I mean, went off at 40 to 1, 10 to 1, 12 to 1, and 33 to 1. It did put together 2 wins. Didn't take a ton of money in the U.S. debut. Didn't run at all. Missed a bunch of time. I mean, if you're betting this one, you're only betting it because you're thinking, oh, gee, I ran Chad Brown at 9 to 2. I mean, and that's fine. I mean, some people play like that, but I don't. I need a more compelling reason to take a shot here, and I probably won't use this horse.
So Nick is saying no way Irad is a Rabbit for Peter Brandt, but who is that French horse?
Tice.
Didn't Irad run Thace or whatever?
Wasn't it always like Manny or somebody?
I don't remember who the jockey was.
I remember Chase always used to try to make the case for Thace. Yeah. Yeah. Man, I'll tell you what. You want to know one thing that Chase was really bad at was spotting which horse was going to be a rabbit, because he was always all over it. Remember, there was that one race with like there were like 4 maker horses, and he's like, I really like this horse, and the horse was just totally a freaking rabbit. Oh, Manny Franco. Maybe it was Manny.
I thought Nick Feldman's other quote there was actually a little more interesting. The one about talking about there's basically 100% chance of rain for Tampa on Saturday. How do you manage your handicapping? And I handicapped this for Fast and Firm. Being somebody that does kind of chase off tracks, I will make tweaks day of, but I'll wait until a little closer to really try to figure out what the surface comes up, and maybe even partway through the card to finalize picks, seeing how it's playing and how much rain they've actually gotten.
If it's on the dirt, I like the 9 because the jockey's name is Olaf, and the horse won on dirt.
Olaf, but he might melt.
It's all right. He comes back. It's magic.
If it comes up wet, Ladies Fights Fair has 433 Tommies. Bleecker Straight also is 415. So both of those horses on wet dirt would be the 2 I would play. Now that I'm giving away any prices or anything.
You're gonna take the 2 chalk, like never mind.
I'll use them both defensively, Brian, just for you.
Well, it's muddy. Let's take the 9-5 over the 3-2. God.
The 6 has one on good. Has one on good. And good overseas is probably like our soft. So
I put on the old man hat, and I've gotten grumpy since I put it on.
Yeah, and you're not taking the chalk in this race, so
it's past your bedtime.
Well, you keep going to Mark first. How can I take the chalk? What am I going to say? He hasn't said I like the chalk here. Why? It's the chalk.
Yeah, but then you say you're going to use all 4 of them.
My head's getting hot.
Road Warrior says he wants the bigger price. Clearvich and Brandt play the game with each other, and with both brands, why wouldn't they want the bigger money, the longer price? I mean, I guess Brandt will be happy no matter if either of them wins. So he's in there with 2 of them. And Mark, I do know that you especially at Saratoga have been known to cap for both on and off. Don't you? Do you still not do that, or
I will do that at places like Saratoga, but I don't tend to do it at a track like Tampa that I don't play as much in the offgoing. And again, we're going through this card because it's the best card that's going on this weekend. I don't know how heavily involved I'll be in actually playing this card, so I didn't want to spend the additional hour of my time working through and trying to figure out off track. And the other problem you run into is there's a lot of stakes races. They may, even if it is a bog, decide, we're going to keep this one turf race on, or take these other races off early. It's just a little too hard without really kind of knowing the track and knowing how they're going to manage the surfaces on a big day.
Yeah, I don't know how much cash I'm gonna be playing here, but I'm like, I don't know, probably like 90% sure that I'll have some kind of tournament playing.
Yeah, I'll have
will involve Tampa. I haven't seen what the featured races for horse tourneys is yet, but yeah. All right, let's move on here. Race 8, the Challenger. We're gonna be going a mile and 16th on the dirt here for 4-year-olds and up. Why is the word defensive written on this 5-2 horse? I don't understand what's going on here. Mark and I were talking a little bit before this. Your 2 short prices are Dynamic One and Greatest Honor, harkening back to their 3-year-old seasons last year, first time out for both of them. Dynamic One was last seen, I believe, in the Travers, and Greatest Honor ran in the Florida Derby and was never seen again. I actually was like, wow, I saw Greatest Honor in here. I was like, didn't I want to bet this horse in the Derby last year? And he just like scratched out. They're going to be your short price horses at 5-2 and 3-1. They're going to take a ton of money because they're going to have that name recognition, and people love betting these horses that were big name 3-year-olds as 4-year-olds. I don't know. I thought that there might be a little bit of value playing against those two horses. You know, I kind of I want to. I liked Greatest Honor a lot last year. I just don't know. I don't know what you're going to get from the horse coming off this long of a layoff. I mean, it's basically a year. Um, of the two between Greatest Honor and Dynamic One, I like Greatest Honor more. However, like I said, I just don't know what you're going to get. You know, of the other horses in the spot, Wolfie's Dynaghost made me a ton of money NHC weekend when we were in Vegas. Both Mark and I had large win bets on Wolfie's Dynaghost, and nobody at either table listened to us, which is fine. They shouldn't have listened to us, but I don't know why they're going to all of a sudden take this horse and after it won on the turf and won on synthetic and decide, hey, why don't we put this horse back on dirt? It's very confusing, and I don't really want any part of this horse on dirt. Maybe if it comes up sloppy, maybe if the track comes up wet, now you start looking at Wolfie's Dynaghost. You know, Ghost Sapper and Dynaformer, I think. Well, Ghost Sapper for sure definitely is a mud influence. So maybe you look there. My eyes kind of landed on this 10 horse, Cheryl Spite. Maybe last time is the time you wanted the horse, you know, at Tampa running on a turf. But, you know, they really thought highly of this horse back in when the horse was 3. They were going to try and run this horse in the Derby, and I think something happened, right? Wasn't it entered in the Derby? And they had to cancel. So, you know, they've been running this horse on the turf, but I don't know. I think this horse's will run fine on the dirt. So I'm a little bit more interested in this 10, and I know I just shit talked another horse that was running on the turf and is switching over. But I don't know. I think you get a little bit more. You have a little bit more of an established horse here in Cheryl Spite. Won that nice G3 last out. So I was interested in the 10 here at a price, or at a mid price at least at 6-1. I don't know, Caleb. What did you kind of see here?
Oh boy, where to begin? I guess. So I agree with you. I don't have any interest in the 2 short-priced horses. I don't like Dynamic One at all. Greatest Honor. He could be anything after the layoff, but I don't think any of those Florida races last year have turned out to be very good. You know, looking at them now a year later, I mean, Soup and Sandwich, Known Agenda, those aren't exactly, you know, world beater horses as 3 and 4 year olds go. So I don't want anything to do with him either. I do disagree with you about Wolfie's Dynaghost. I like this horse in here, and I think I'm assuming the track's going to play a little bit wet, a little bit sloppy. I don't think it's going to be fast. This horse loves a sloppy track. He's perfect over an off track, and his last 2 races have been really good. It's tough to win at Gulfstream on a synthetic up on the front, especially in the routes. It's tough to win on or near the lead there. And this horse broke on top. He was able to let another horse kind of take the lead, set a couple lengths off, and then re-rally and win pretty comfortably at a nice price. You know, I get the argument that he's a better turf horse or he's a better synthetic horse, but you know, he's tried turf routes a number of times, and we haven't really seen that kind of performance from him before. So I really think that he's just a better horse at this point of his career than he was last year at this time. So I think he's matured a little bit. So I think he gets the lead here and may get the lead pretty comfortably. I don't see a ton of other horses that really want to go. I mean, perhaps the 7 and the 8, but from the inside draw, I mean, I think Paco controls whether he gets the lead or not. So I do like Wolfie's Dynaghost. And then the other horse I did like in here was the one Nick Feldman brings up, the number 9, Cody's Wish. I assume Mark's going to talk about this horse, so I'm not going to jump into it too much, but I do think that's a big player in here. And a very poor morning line at 8-1.
Yeah, I'll hop in where Caleb dropped off there. I also want no part of either Greatest Honor or Dynamic One. I think, there's way too many questions there. We don't really know what either one of them can be. And Caleb pointed out the fact that the 3-year-old division last year in Florida has been turned out to be fairly suspect. So, and I did land on the 9 Cody's Wish in here. Horse that's, a fairly sort of late blooming 4-year-old, one that we haven't seen very much of. Kind of saw the tail end of his, 3-year-old season. Bill Mott has a way of sort of getting these horses that are, late blooming types to sort of improve later in their career. Godolphin homebred, and it's obviously Godolphin doesn't really need to rush him to go quick early. And Bill Mott, there's some stat about him with, I can't even remember what the statistic is, but effectively this type of a move for him going from an allowance to a stakes race is a very high percentage move for that barn. The only thing I'm a little bit suspect here, they did obviously target one of those big money maidens at Churchill, won that, and then went back-to-back allowance races. So I wonder, is this just a Churchill specialist? Is this a horse that you don't normally assume that Mott would go maiden to allowance to find him a listed stakes or, a G3 that they could put him in for a spot. Seems a little bit of a, an odd path, but this is the kind of horse that has every opportunity to improve here. First start of his 4-year-old season. And I actually like him a ton. I think it's a very bad morning line. He is sort of the wise guy horse. I've heard more talk between groups of people that I talk with, Twitter and everything else, that everybody's all over Cody's Wish here in the spot. So I think you're going to get a lot shorter than that, but that's where I would land.
My turn.
How about it?
So nobody likes the chalk. I got the head on. I really don't want to take the chalk. but I'm going to go with the other. Well, let me back up. I've always liked local jocks on big days. They usually get 1 or 2 races in where they ride well and they sit well. So with that being said, I do think the 2 favorites are probably going to walk with this because Mark and Caleb and Josh, you all talk the crap off those horses. So they're probably going to go 1-2. But I like the 6 Hidden Stash. Horse looked decent as a 3-year-old, came back off the layoff, and then put him on turf, which didn't really make too much sense, but on a couple nice placings at optional claiming level, obviously stepping up here, but getting back to dirt, it's one of those things where it's like they just try to protect the horse. Well, something weird, So to me, if the 2 favorites are going to flop out, then I want a horse that's going to come running late. And Centeno is obviously very good at Tampa Bay. He's like 18%. Vicky Oliver's barn seems to always get decent about now. So it's one of those horses that could surprise, I think, at a huge price, just because there's probably 4 or 5 better horses on paper that are going to take the money.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about the 9 here. Both Jay and Nick Feldman really like the 9. Jay is a little interested in this 2 horse if we do come up muddy.
Looking at Briz, just an interesting stat. Since 11/24, which I guess is when Tampa opened this meet, going 8.5 furlongs on the dirt, posts 8 and above are winless from 34 starts. So apparently, if those stats are to be believed, it's pretty tough to win from the outside post. So I'm sure Cody's Wish wouldn't mind a scratch or 2 to the inside.
So we got a minute to post here at Turfway. You guys like anything here?
Actually, I did. Believe it or not, I liked the 2 here, Enforceable. I've been waiting for this horse to get on synthetic for as long as I can remember. And he finally is getting on synthetic today. He looks like he may not be the same horse he was earlier in his career. There's a huge layoff. There's a lot of question marks, but 4-1, I'm gonna take a shot with the 2 Enforceable.
That's where I landed. I cash a double to the 2 or the 8 here.
Yeah, I would land on the 2 or the 8 here as well.
Oh shit, Mr. Dumas is running in this race too. Pole setter. There's some interesting horses in here. I didn't look at this race at all, so I'm just going to blindly bet the 2, just so that way I have some action here in the next couple minutes.
It felt like there was a lot of speed in this race. And,
you don't want Landeros and Maker together?
Oh, what about Corrales and Ward?
and they're off. I
Next.
hope you bet already.
Yeah, I already bet the 2.
There's the mush.
Well, this 8's going to be about 24 wide in that first turn.
That was a interesting ride by Corrales there.
Oh,
there's a lot of speed in this race. Well. I mean, he probably just wasn't quite quick enough to clear.
Dude. Josh, did you used to call the races when we watched them? Wasn't that you?
It was definitely not me.
It was Chase.
It was not Vic Stauffer. Oh, they're going the honest click here on the synthetic.
Oh, Mr. Dumbass. Look at him. He's standing straight up.
Yeah, I mean they're sitting pretty chilly on this 2 and 6, so I mean Corrales is already getting into this 8, but
he's getting in on a 2 now.
Yeah, this 6 looks like he has a lot of horse.
Wait, the horse is gray though.
8's done. 7 on the outside.
7.
Oh, the 2 just switched outside, but
nope. So
it's going backwards.
Is the 7 winning? I can't tell.
No, 6 is in front.
The 6 is up.
6 is up by somewhere from 1 to 4 lengths.
Yeah, man, that camera angle is awful. Like, what do they gotta do? They gotta just, like, raise that camera, don't they? Is that what it is?
I hope you're not just realizing that camera angle is awful.
No, it's always been awful.
For years.
The 2 galloping out in front.
It's always been awful, and Jimmy is just like the worst race caller, and like he gives you hope when you don't have any. So like that's just the worst thing that you can have when you're dead in the water is hope, And he just gives you it. I remember like it's just like Vic, right? Like when Vic like has that like yell at the end where he's like, yeah, and then it's like your fucking horse had just got nosed out and you just want to break something. Like,
I gotta admit, Pete Aiello got me with one of those last weekend for the first time I think ever. Did Pete it was that maiden horse, that Romans. He's like, oh, and here comes whatever his name was, and oh no, we didn't get there. And I was just like, Pete, you bastard!
You knew who Pete had.
Yeah.
I just want you to remember, Red. Hope is a good thing. Maybe the best of things.
Jay says he thinks that. Jay says they think they should park the gate in front of the camera as well,
and then make sure that the backlight for the camera is so bright you actually can't see the silks.
Yeah, did you see that on the replay? I thought my monitor was like washed out, but like everything was so bright you just couldn't make out anything.
Can't see anything,
dude. Why is it like literally the only CDI track that has a decent camera angle is Churchill? Like
Arlington used to have a nice one.
Yeah, but Arlington also had the trees. Arlington had the trees.
But now they have a venti mocha latte. It's killer.
Yeah. And then Fairgrounds has got those trees. Those trees are killer, man. Yeah, let's go on here. Race 9 here, the Florida Oaks, Grade 3, mile and 16th on the turf for fillies, 3-year-old. And it looks like, scroll down to the bottom, our morning line favorite, is going to be the 9, Ambatus. You got a couple other short. Oh, and you got Manny Franco aboard, so you guys can already toss this horse. But Ambatus here at 3-1. You got A Little Love and Luck at 7-2. And then it looks like Spicer at 9-2, Dolce Zell at 5-1, and it kind of goes from there. Mr. BD Horse Player,
thank you.
Since you always go last, why don't you go first, Ellis Jr.?
All right, hold on. I'm gonna have to take it off because this is like the third race in a row I'm not taking the chalk, so I'm gonna have to do something a little different. I've got a runner coming in, Josh. He's gonna bring you my picks.
Mm-hmm.
So he should be there soon. I didn't want to leave my room right now.
Sounds good.
But, I thought this race was an interesting race. There's what might be a lot of early pace or early pressure. If you like the plots, then you say, okay, this might be contested. And if so, there's a lot of horses there that Mark's going to use defensively. that are trained by Chad Brown. But for me personally, I like the one Mrs. Barbara. Mark Cassie should have her ready to go. 100-day layoff, not really concerning. And depending on how you feel about Woodbine and their class level, they're Tampa and Woodbine. People might argue that they're close. I think Woodbine's probably got better horses, just because there's not Gulfstream right down the road from it. So with that being said, this is a interesting horse to sit off the pace and come running late. The only thing that is a little concerning for me is Rafael Hernandez in the irons. But again, I've said it before. How can I, doubt Mark Cassie? He's a Hall of Famer, and I'm not. So I'll let the cheaper horses run each other down and wear each other out, and hopefully Rafael sits to one with a nice second flight kind of tripping and comes running late.
Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, I thought this race was a little interesting. I mean, your morning line favorite, Ambiuse, is winless on turf. And Paco, who was up for the last win, hops off here. You have Mrs. Barbara, who I think has the fastest turf speed figure in the race, is also a horse that is winless on turf. So I wanted to go someplace else here, and I didn't feel like I had any great options. So I think Caleb has already given me crap about, picking the Chad, or if it might have been Brian, I don't know. But, I ended up on the 3, Dolce Zell, a horse that,
Lord.
ran fairly okay in, ran fairly okay in Europe. I don't know who was beating, I don't know who she was beating in the race at Longchamp, but Chad is very, very good with these horses that come out of France, ship into the Chad barn. Is 35% first time in North America, and he's putting a rat up. So I would imagine this is the of the Chads. I mean, obviously Jose isn't much of a downgrade, but I thought Dolce Zell in here was sort of interesting. Of the newer faces. Now, again, this is going to be a price play, though. If this horse goes off at 3-1, I want no part of it. If this horse is around morning line 5-1, 6-1 range, yeah, I might be a little interested in the new face that I don't know that I don't like. Whereas a lot of the other ones in here, I know I don't like.
Yeah, Nick is pointing out that I guess Dolce Zell was an AE at a Gulfstream Stakes race last weekend. So Chad did try to get this horse running at Gulfstream. So if you do subscribe to Chad runs all his good horses at Gulfstream. He did try to run this horse at Gulfstream, but he got AE'd. Probably just has the horse keyed up and wants to run him as quickly as possible. So
yeah, and I don't really think she's a monster, in the Chad barn world. But I think she's, there's no other monsters in this field. I think she might just be good enough to, or hopefully, I mean, obviously she does have to improve off from that Longchamp race, but she does improve a little bit. She might be a major player here.
Caleb, save me from Chad Brown.
Well, I don't like Dolce Zell here very much. She could be any kind, I suppose, but nothing about the races she's been in, her work tab. I mean, nothing really impresses me too much. I'd much prefer the other Chad, Spicer. I don't really like last out maidens against winners too often, but this horse beat the number 9, Ambituis, whatever this horse's name is, who came back to run second in a grade 3 at Gulfstream. So, I think there's certainly some quality there. And Spicer didn't just beat that horse; she beat her by almost 6 lengths. So I'm not really. I think Spicer could be an easy single, not an easy single, but could be a singleable horse if you really think this horse is going to show up with an improved or even similar effort to that. But I will have to say that I agree with the chat, or a lot of people in the chat, about Mrs. Barbara. I think she's really interesting in here. She's run better on synthetic. That is true. She needs to replicate that turf form. But I do think that she's interesting here. I wouldn't want to take a super short price. So if the chat is going to be reflective of the attention she gets on Saturday, then I wouldn't want this horse at 3-1 or anything like that. But at 6-1, I think she makes a lot of sense. And the last horse I sort of give a glance to is actually this number 2, Roughly a Diamond. I'm a sucker for horse for course angles, and it's hard to say a 1-for-1 as a horse for course, but this horse has her best race of her career, and truthfully, her only win first across the wire at Tampa, where she actually closed into a really, really slow pace, two back in that optional claiming $75,000 race. I thought that was a nice race. She came back and a grade 3 last time out at Gulfstream against a couple of today's horses and blew the start really badly, came out last by a dozen lengths, and just never really got put into the race. I'm not going to hold that against her considering the start that she had, plus just a very ambitious start. So I think third off the layoff here, getting the winning jock back up with Antonio Gallardo. This is a horse that isn't the most likely winner in here, but is one that I think gets completely lost on the board given some of the Chad Browns and other high-profile connections. And I think roughly a diamond could be usable.
Yeah, I was actually very interested in this one until I heard Mark talk about it. And if Mark is on it, then I already know that this horse is going to be like 2-1, not 6-1. So that kind of scares me a little bit. I kind of saw it like you did, Caleb. The 6 did have that very impressive win last out, and it's just like one of those things where once again it doesn't seem like there's any really like world beaters in here. There's no like hidden monsters. So I guess you take the horse that kind of had you do the old matchup. There we go. You do the old matchup, right? You see who the 6 beat. You see how well that horse ran back the next time out, and you just assume, hey, this horse is probably a little better than the morning line favorite. You hope that you're able to get some kind of a price on this horse. I don't think you. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if either of these Chads end up being the favorite. I wouldn't be surprised if people went crazy for this French Chad and just bet it based off of the fact that it's coming from France. We've seen that before, and maybe that horse goes off favored. But hoping that you get at least something like 5-2 on the 6, I think. But I definitely think the 6 is probably your most likely winner in this spot, and it's just whether or not. I think if you're playing horizontally, you got to use the 6. If you are looking to win bets, or maybe you play smaller horizontals, like I think you can probably, take a look at the price. I would probably want like 5-2, 3-1 on the horse, but I think that's your most likely winner in this spot. I tried to make a case for the 2. I looked at the 2 pretty closely, and like I said, I kind of agree with Mark on this 3. Because this three is interesting, right? It's the new shooter. It's the horse coming in. This is a Chad move if you've ever seen one, right? But I don't know, man. I feel like this horse is just going to get bet off the board because people love betting these kinds of horses. So I just don't think the value is going to be there. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, if I see this 3 is at 5-1, is at 4.5-1, like okay, I'm a little bit more interested. But if this horse is 3-1 or shorter, 2 or 5-2, this horse ends up going off favored. I don't know, but at least like the way I play, that's kind of the way I look at it, from more of a value standpoint. But it's kind of just like trying to guess what the board's going to do here. But
No
I
love
like
for the
this.
7?
What were you gonna say, Brian?
No love for the 7?
The 7? I mean, there's no E8 there, so why would I like the 7?
I thought maybe that was going to be a cherry horse. I'm sorry.
No, I think Nick Feldman did talk about the 7 a little bit. He says he's going to use the Paco horse with the speed. He likes Spicer with Jose, but his two top choices are going to be the 1 and Dolce Zell, who was an AE at Gulfstream. So
that 7 is just very much up against it from a run style standpoint. Those types of horses do not wire turf routes at Tampa.
But didn't you just take a horse like that in the first race at Tampa that's on a turf route? When Caleb told you that they don't win?
You're not supposed to remember that, Brian, okay?
Well, I remember it because it was very clear. You're like, I love this horse to go wire to wire. And Caleb's like, the horses are 86.7% not going wire to wire at Tampa. And you're like, I'm going to double down defensively. Sorry.
Not sorry.
No, because
I mean, at 7-2, I wouldn't use that 7. I think you'll get double 7-1, 8-1. I mean, I think you'll get a way better price on that horse. And at that point, if you want to take a stab, I wouldn't talk anybody off of it.
PDT saying that Chad owner game feels like lean to the French. So I didn't see who owns the 5 Madacat, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who owns the 6? Oh,
Just
I've never heard of that.
Small scrub group.
Yeah. Win one for the scrubs, Chad. Win one for the scrubs.
Yeah. Jose's like, oh, my only job is to block for I ride this race.
Oh God. Nick is talking about this 8 a little bit here. He says the wild card horse, the 8, has the best late pace of all the horses in the race according to Briz. Running style is S, and that running style is winning 42% of these races. Any do you guys look at this 8 at all with Shug and JJ?
I did. I just want no part of that horse. I don't know where you're getting the late run speed, but I show that as a speed type that's not fast enough to be forwardly placed. So don't show that horse as having a ton of closing kick. Maybe the 2 back race is different than the figures I'm looking at.
Yeah, I mean, Optics loves this horse as a closer. And it's a circle, but it's a closer.
Yeah, but it's a circle, though. I mean, that's not the type of closer you want.
I'd be more concerned about JJ and a closer. I've never really been a fan of JJ and a closer personally.
I would agree.
I still forgot who I was talking to. I talked to somebody about JJ, and I was like, yeah, I don't really like, I don't like the way he rides. He rides a little passive. And someone tried to make the argument that JJ is one of the most aggressive jocks out there.
And
I almost fell out of my chair.
It sounds like something stupid Mark would say.
That is something stupid, I would say. If you go back 3 or 4 years, Javi was one of the most aggressive jocks, especially in the New York colony.
Yeah, I think what Nick's looking at is this big old 104 LP figure here, 2 back. That's probably what he's looking at.
Yeah. I mean, Gulfstream has had really bad timing issues this entire meet on the turf. And especially at 7.5, since that's a 2-turn configuration for them. So that's I'm not saying the figure's wrong, but I would be a little skeptical about 104.
I would say at Tampa, you do not want a Q4 circle. That's just from a run style standpoint. That's very much not what you want.
I mean, I don't know any track that you want a Q4 circle.
This is actually true as well. They basically win 0% of the time.
That's not true. It's about 18%.
Point to Brian. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, and just like for the record, when I look at Brit stuff, I sometimes I'll take a peek at like this back speed, or I'll look at the late paces over here, so I can kind of see where they get the average in 97. I think the outlier though is at 104, which is probably just meant it was a super slow pace and the horse kicked on because everybody kicked on. But
just because Mark likes the speed here. Briz says 69 races, 42% won by a sustained type runners. I just want to bring that back up again.
So congratulations to the 9 horse Impetus, who nobody likes, for winning the Grade 3 Florida Oaks here.
Completing the pick 3 with Dynamic 1 and Greatest Honor, or whoever it was.
Right. They dead heat.
Yeah.
Oh, this last race at Turfway sucks.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so Steven says he didn't know that I knew how to look at late pace because it's on E8. It's true. Believe it or not, I do look at race shapes. I just happen to like the Q1 squares the most.
Yes.
So I guess why don't we take a quick look at this Turfway race before we look at the last race here at the Tampa Bay Derby. We got a maiden special weight here. 6 furlongs on the lovely Tapeta here. And let's take a look at the scratches. What do we got here? Scratch the 2, the 3, and the 8. So you got 7 horses here. Scratch the 2, the 3. Ooh, you got a lot of first-time starters, huh?
I'm going to play a try.
I mean, they're just betting this 6 on Corrales, right? But that's the only thing that makes any sense.
Yeah, Corrales and Cox. I singled the 6 in my pick 4 that is going to be worth, $11.26 right now, probably. I don't know.
Is that really what it's worth?
If I'm lucky.
Pick 4 for $2 is paying 147, so 40 $45 maybe.
$37 or 50 cents.
Yeah, oof.
Yeah, at least I'll profit. I'll about double my money.
A little even money. Little even money. Pick 4.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a guessing game here. I mean, the 6 has the best connections. It's got the best jockey. I mean, the 4 is probably the horse. The 1 and the 4 are probably the 2 best horses with any form. They're both getting bet as well. So it's hard to make a compelling argument for anybody else here. I mean, I tried to look at the 9. Ben Colebrook's having a pretty good Turfway meet. He doesn't win first out too often. But that's the only other horse I really tried to make a case for.
Man, what about the 7?
What about him?
I mean, the 7's coming back. Well, I guess he was firing bullets before, but came back off that last race and fired the bullet here at Indiana Grand. You got Carpe Diem, which is Giants Causeway. Giants Causeway for the longest time was the leading synthetic sire out there, so you definitely have some kind of synthetic pedigree here. I don't know about Mizzen Mass whatsoever, though, so.
I mean, if you want to take a stab, I would. Well, actually, at 13-1, I think I would still try to talk you off that horse. I would need 30-1, but I guess you could.
Yeah, I guess the horse the price is getting slashed just because of all the other scratches.
All the scratches, yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's been working this 9 at Keeneland, so. What about this 10?
I mean, the work tab's a little short and a little spotty on the 9. That's kind of what scared me off.
Mark, you see anything here?
Nah, man. I not seeing anything I love here. I mean, I would probably land on the 4 just from a run style standpoint, but the jock makes me shudder. And yeah, this is just a tough race. I wouldn't talk anybody off a price.
Man, the 1 looked interesting, and now they've just flashed at 9-5. So
I was thinking the same thing, Brian.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah, 9-5, 8-5 on the 6.
Kind of marooned by post position in his last 2 starts. Now he's 3-year-old filly now, should be a little more mature. Might be your leader, but it's like 9-5. It's tough to get excited about. So what I'm hearing you say is you're going to take a 6 all exacta? Or a 6-1 all try? What do you think?
I'm going to go with a 1 with 6 with all.
Smart. It'll pay huge if you get a price in the 3rd with that coming in.
I just bet the 7 to win, and I saw it flash down to 13-1.
That was you.
So, but I think I'm gonna play just a small little exacta here with the 4 and the 7, and I'm gonna use the 6 in second.
Say defensively.
It's absolutely defensively. I mean, I definitely think the 6 is the horse to beat, but let's see if we can spice this up a little bit with one of these other horses. So,
Stephen Fox with a great strategy there. All 6. He's going to key the favorite in second. Always a solid move.
I mean, with the exception of the that 2 horse that nailed us all, that nailed that 7 at the wire. Every other and he even made an outside run. Every winner's been coming outside. So I don't know, maybe take a shot, like someone in the chat said, on a bomb on the outside. Just give him the tracks playing like this 9 or 10.
That's a Popo play right there.
That is a Popo play. Man, back on the old Turfway days, you just blindly boxed the outside 3 or 4 horses, as long as they were like good prices.
All right, so how much time we got here? We got about 5 minutes, so we can start taking a look at this Tampa race here. Tampa Bay Derby, Lambhold South, Tampa Bay Derby Grade 2. I forgot how many points you're getting, but Is this the start of the 50-point preps?
This is 50, yeah, but it's not the start.
So what's the highest point ones?
100.
100.
Oh, there's 100-point ones. Okay.
Louisiana Derby in 2 weeks. UAE.
They don't
Wood.
give 100 points to the UAE.
Florida Derby.
The Wood. They give 100 points to the Wood.
Yeah.
And then the Senate, whatever the Santa Anita one is.
Lots of crazy New York money. They got to give 100 points up there.
Is it Santa Anita Derby? Is it what
Yep.
they? Okay.
Yep. And you
Caleb,
got that one at Keeneland, too.
Yeah, Bluegrass. Caleb, did you see that they announced that the turf course is coming back? I think first week of April at Aqueduct.
Is it?
It might be bettable again.
I hope so. It's been a tough winter. I haven't been able to bet my Aqueduct, and it's been tough.
So you got a couple horses coming back here from the Sam F. Davis. You got Shipshational coming back. You also have the winner, the 4 Classic Causeway coming back. Classic Causeway is currently the 8-5 favorite in this race. You get Major General at 9-2, Shipshational at 5-1, Strike Hard at 8-1, and then you get double digits everywhere else. Mark, we'll start back with you. What do you got here?
Yeah, I mean, I think Classic Causeway in here makes a lot of sense. I have a real hard time saying anything terrible about him. Seems to be. What are you laughing at?
I'm going to send you my hat.
Yeah, I know. I think Classic Causeway makes a lot of sense in here. I'll have most of my money going through him and anything I play. Last thought was really impressive. Went across the surface. It seems like the kind of horse that's getting better over time. It seems like Brian Lynch wants to do this Tampa Derby path and has this one lined up. I see no way. This should be the same as his last race, right? Somebody has to improve to go catch him and take him out of his element. And I thought Classic Causeway made a lot of sense in here. A couple prices I liked, but I don't. If anybody wants to beat me up on my Classic Causeway pick, have at it.
Man, I loved Classic Causeway on that last race. I thought Classic Causeway made a ton of sense. Obviously I tried to beat on that day, and even with that pace was unbelievable, and that horse just got stronger the longer they went. I haven't looked at sheets, but I have to imagine if you believe in a bounce theory, right, that effort was impressive, so you could probably make a lot of arguments for how you're going to beat Classic Causeway. So with that being said, there's only one horse I can go with, and that's a West Point Thoroughbred, number 5, Giant Game. Dale Romans, Giant Trainer, Giant Game. Joe Talamo, Giant Loser, 10-1. Really like the price. Flopped in the Holy Bull. Horse ran a lot better in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile than what we saw in the Holy Bull. It was one of those races the horse didn't seem interested. So maybe the horse wasn't great off the layoff, wasn't really prepped. Also could be one of those horses that looks better come Travers late summer. But, at 10-1, I think I'll get every bit of that at first glance. Why not? But, I do think Mark's horse is going to be interesting. So we'll see what Caleb and Josh go with. I have one more I'm watching, but we'll see where you guys go.
Caleb, what you got?
Yeah, nothing creative. I liked Classic Causeway and the Sam F. Davis, and I think you guys were all like, "Oh no, he can't win. He's a takeout reducer." And I think the biggest threats to him are horses he's already beaten. Horses like Shipsational or Strike Hard, and I thought Classic Causeway had a not super comfortable trip. Dueling for pretty much the entire race through pretty swift fractions, and put that field to sleep. I just crushed that field. I don't see. I think Strike Hard and Shipsational are probably two of the more likely upset candidates, but I just struggle to see a way that they can turn the tables on Classic Causeway. I guess Major General is a threat in here. I don't really like him. I think this might have been the horse I talked Josh out of, perhaps, for one of the cross country. It was one of these horses, but either way, I'm not going to bet Tampa because I have standards, but Classic Causeway would be a single for me in this race. I'm not going to overthink this one.
I am going to take a horse that lost to a Classic Causeway, and that's Ship Stational. But I don't know. You get a jock change here. You get JJ getting off, and most of the time I'd be like, cool, like we're gonna get a jock upgrade, but instead you got Manny Parking Lot Franco. I like to call him the valet because he likes to just take the car for a spin there before he parks it. And I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening here with Mr. Valet. I think on the optics plot, this horse, I mean, is just like screaming like bet me. But once you start actually like looking at the PPs, you're like you really got to squint and you got to be like, okay, well, hopefully he like turns the table somehow. But yeah, I have a hard time trying to like really make a case for anybody outside of Classic Causeway. I mean, if I was looking elsewhere, it would be Ship Stational. But honestly, if I were to bet this race, I would probably just bet the exacta from the Sam F. Davis. I would bet Classic Causeway over Ship Stational, basically cold and move on. There's just nothing different, right? There's nothing different about this race. The only real hope that a horse like Ship Stational has in this spot is that maybe Giant Game really, really just gets out there, and we get we get a little bit more of a pace, especially in that second fraction. We get a little bit hotter of a pace, and maybe that's how you turn the tables here.
It's a hot pace.
But yeah, but if that middle move doesn't come, I mean, who knows? But the middle move always comes, is what I was told. Sometimes in under 30 seconds. Anyways,
shout out to
yeah.
Andy Villanueva.
Oh, shout out to Andy Pegville, Villanueva. But yeah, no.
They are off at Turfway, Josh. I had one other horse. If you want to hop back over to Turfway,
We skipped you. You took the 6 defensively even money. We know.
No, he didn't take it at Turfway. He's got another horse he likes here. He just wants to get out of here after the way that this is just devolving. He's just like,
man,
dude, this 6 is opening up.
Yeah, I had a flyer at Tampa too. I'm curious. I think Brian and Mark both said they had one more horse they like. So I'm curious.
Are you watching Los Al? This horse is gone. Who's your favorite jockey at Los Al, Mark?
He's
Ramon. What's his face? Goose.
Goosey.
Yeah, it's just Goose.
But Goosey's out injured. He's been out for almost a year.
44-2. Woo.
All right. Well, where's that camera angle now?
Here comes the 4.
Yeah, he gone.
Where's the camera angle now? How come when my horse is on the front end, he always gets caught, but this fucking horse, like the camera angle didn't matter.
6-9.
That's some
Coots,
bullshit,
Coots,
dude.
Coots.
Turfway's some bullshit. I'm with Nick. Nick said he was done playing. Where's Nick at? He said he was done playing Turfway. That was the last race he was ever going to bet at Turfway last time. Yeah, here it is. I'm horrible at Turfway. Last race I bet here. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Fuck Turfway.
So with that being said, we have 10 minutes to the Busan in Korea. Anyone want to take a look?
Dude, don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah.
All right, Mark. So which impossible horse you got here that you're not going to even use as defensive B?
Oh no, this horse may end up as maybe even an A on some of my tickets. I think Josh made a pretty good point that this is a lot of the Sam F. Davis back. A lot of these horses ran on that race. So you're looking for, do you think the pace dynamic is different from the Sam F. Davis? Do you think something changes, or do you want a fresh face? And there was one fresh face in here that I was a little interested in. That's the number 11 Money Supply. Late blooming Claravic type, Claravic horse. Really, if you watch that maiden score, that was hella impressive. When a horse is 11 lengths off the leader and closes at 6 furlongs, just absolutely flying late. And the figure came back really respectable for that horse. So, and I said the other thing is if you're an optics person, I tend to use a lot of optics at Tampa. The plot is what you want at from a run style standpoint. Now, there's a ton of questions here. You need to get the right price. This horse takes a ton of money and goes off 5-1 or something. I have no interest in this horse. But if you can get that sort of morning line 10, 12-1 range, this horse is actually super interesting on the fact that it's a Chad that has every opportunity to improve. And is one that's going to be, if there's a little bit of a little pace in here, which I think we might have more pace in here than we did in the Sam F. Davis. This is one that can be absolutely flying late and kind of snatch this away.
Sorry, in the middle of your talking, I looked at Korea, and the horse was 21-1 in the morning line is now even money.
Thin pools, baby.
Man,
sounds like Sam Houston.
That's crazy.
Who's the other horse that you like, Brian?
Well, it was the 11 until Mark started talking.
I mean, you really thought Mark wasn't going to talk about Chad Brown, last outflashing maiden winner with a bad fig.
Yeah, I mean,
with a bad fig and questionable pedigree to go this far. I mean, I was waiting for that, Caleb. Where's the pedigree angle?
I was getting there. Brian jumped.
I expect better out of you.
With the post that's over 34 this meet.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, keep going. There's a couple more easy ones there.
Most of us have taken posters from our bedrooms down as we've gotten older, but Mark still has the Chad Brown Claridge Stable Saratoga giveaway. He looks at it nightly. Keep going, Caleb.
No, I'm not done, I think.
Damn. No, yeah, the other horse I had liked was the 7 that Caleb talked about. If you look at optics, Strike Hard looks must use in this situation, right? So Ship Station was the horse I liked in the Sam F. Davis and just couldn't get there. There's enough pace on paper here where it seems like, okay, maybe the 7, maybe the 11 kind of get that run and can get there at a huge price. But, I think it was Caleb who said Classic Causeway impressed, and now we wait and see what happens here. But who's that horse 2 years ago, Mark, that you loved from Tampa, who flopped in the Derby Trail? He won early
King Guillermo.
on. Yeah, King Guillermo. That's my fear for Classic Causeway, right? Because a lot of these horses go to Tampa, they run well at Tampa, then can't run at anywhere else.
He had an injury and got taken off for most of his 3-year-old campaign.
Hey, details.
Different
we're not talking about here. We're not talking about details. I'm just saying. There's one of those things that just stuck to me, right? Because even before he got hurt, wasn't it? He had one start after Tampa where he just flopped and then got hurt in the next.
No, he got hurt training for the Derby. They took him off the Derby Trail. He then came back real late in his season. There's a lot of other things there.
Fair enough. Okay, then I misremembered then.
Yeah. I want to make a very brief argument. I don't think Classic Causeway uses, but if you're looking for a horse maybe through underneath, I would look at the 1, Grantham. This horse might be better on turf or synthetic. I mean, looking at the pedigree, it probably makes sense. But I thought that the horse at least proves to handle dirt in those 2 starts. Really isn't bred to love an off track, but ran respectably over that bog in the Withers. That's a race that was a very weird race. Early voting wired that, which I think has been the best prep of the year we've seen, maybe with the exception of Forbidden Kingdom's race last week. But, I know it won't get any respect because it's the Withers, but I thought that was an outstanding race by early voting. Anyone behind him that was anywhere near that pace just absolutely quit running. Grantham was by far the second best of the horses that were anywhere remotely in the front half of the field, where closers just dominated the 2nd and 3rd places there. Unoho came back to win at Oaklawn, and I think this horse could be kind of sneaky. I mean, get a kind of stalking trip, get a few breaks, save the ground. Might be an underneath player and might be every bit of 20, 30, 40 to 1.
So nobody's going to take the 40% Pletcher barn here?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I feel like somebody should talk about that horse more, but I don't like him. I thought those 2 races he came out were terrible.
Yeah. I thought the horse was going to be covered 2 ways with cherries and with red hair.
Really? No, I again, I agree with Caleb. I think those two races that came out of are pretty horrible, and when you look back at them, figures didn't come back super impressive. And I don't love to see a horse that when they stretch him out, his figures really soften. I really don't know if Major General wants to end up. I realize he won the Iroquois at this distance, but I almost wonder if he wants to go a little shorter.
Road Warrior shouting out Caleb, saying he's a smart man.
That's right.
Road Warrior saying that Motion and Mott's horses have every right to improve as well.
Yeah.
Both are good prices.
I would say this is the kind of race that if you are somebody who's saying, geez, I like Classic Causeway, I have no real reason to dislike him off from that last performance. So if you're not looking at Classic Causeway and thinking he bounces or something happens or there's a different pace dynamic in here, I do think you kind of use Classic Causeway, and then maybe as B or C types with saver tickets, you do pick up some of the newer players. Again, the couple that you just mentioned, the Motion and the Mott horse, and then the Chad Brown, that 11 horse, as horses that have every opportunity to improve, and you want that fresh face. I would take those over some of the horses that finished second last out, and we sort of know what they are, I think, at this point.
Nick Feldman bringing up, he thinks Classic Causeway gets an easier lead up front than the Sam F. Davis. The only wild card will be if the track is sloppy. Can he handle that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It is.
He's not particularly well bred to handle the slop, but you never know if they can until they try it.
I would say if you're assuming it comes off Josh's horse, the 9 Shipsational, doesn't have the big Tomlinson's figures, but is 2 for 2 on an off track. So that is a horse that I would would want to have very prominently. There's a few horses that have bigger Tomlinson figures in here. Happy Boy Rocket, the 3, the Mott horse. Some other horses like Golden Glitter, the 6, Major General, the 8, Belgrade, the 10, and Money Supply, the 11, all have, bigger Tomlinson figures that would make some sense.
I was like, wasn't there a Constitution in here? But maybe I'm thinking of a different race.
There is. That's the Pletcher horse.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's probably the Mud horse. That's probably the Tommy horse, right?
Yeah, that's the biggest Tomlinson figures in here by quite a bit. Yeah.
And Major General is just fun to say.
You need to say it's a good name.
But
has anybody else noticed that Caleb hasn't hit a pick 5 since Jerry quit coming to our streams?
That is true.
Aren't they the same person though?
I don't know. I've seen Jared Bush on Papo's stream. And looks nothing like Caleb. So, I didn't. Mark, I know you wanted to talk about the Azeri. I didn't look at it. But if you have a couple of thoughts, I'm looking at Sam Houston. If you had a couple thoughts on this race, I mean, my really only thought on it was I don't understand why they keep on trying to route CC and not just keep running this horse at 7 furlongs. I think this is dumb, but
yeah, I mean, I think your logical favorites. She Shared the Devil, the 7. Horse is a very likely winner here and makes a ton of sense. I have nothing against her. I do think CC functions as a takeout reducer here. I don't understand why they are trying to stretch her out once again. She's shown she doesn't want to go this far a couple of times now, and she's much better kind of going 7 furlongs. Maybe she could get a mile. I don't think there's any big filly races in a mile, but she seems to just be an odd spot for her, but she will take money because it's a name that everybody knows. And the horse that I actually had on top was the 2, Paulina's Pearl. She's won 2 in a row. She loves this distance, seems to be in really good form right now. And, she kind of had that, one race off the layoff, which she did win, which was the Houston Ladies Classic. Every right to step forward a little bit. And I think, it should be a good show to watch. I think it, kind of comes down to a Paulina's Pearl and she Dares the Devil as my 2 top choices. And I think both of them make, a ton of sense. Couple other ways you could go in here. I didn't know if Caleb had an opinion. So
hold on, real quick. Race of the year is what you said. Race of the year.
I said the race so far this year. Yeah, I think this is the best race so far this year that I've seen.
A 3-1 over a 2-1 race of the year.
I mean, but
You're
races, but
definitely
yeah,
getting
but
my
you're making
you're
an
definitely
argument
getting
that
my
price
hat.
somehow
You're getting my
dictates
hat.
race of the year. To me, I think it's very interesting to see some of these older fillies coming back for their 4-year-old season, running versus each other in what's going to be a really competitive fillies division. I think there's some good fillies out there, and I like to see good races. I don't care what the winner what the price on the winner is. If I see 3 or 4 horses that I go, geez, those are all really good horses, and they're all running versus each other, and it's a really interesting competitive race, that to me is a bigger deal than, oh, I love this 20-1 that I'm going to bet.
With the
Hold on,
weather,
wait. Let me toss this caption up real quick.
with the weather forecast the way it is, how many of these prize money fillies and mares do you think see the track if it's super muddy?
I didn't pull up what Oaklawn is. Are they calling for rain as well?
We're getting it in Louisiana. I know that much.
Okay.
Yeah, I figure there'll be something. That's why I say that.
Yeah,
So-
I get where Mark's coming from as far as like a good race. It doesn't necessarily have to be a good betting race. I think back to Life is Good, Knicks Go and stuff. Not really a good betting race, but a good race, at least
show.
going into it was. However, I don't agree that this is a very good race. I think there's a lot of horses in here that would be lucky to finish within 4 lengths of She Dares the Devil. I think she has this field over a barrel pretty easily. I've actually been kind of waiting for her to come back because I thought she ran a sneaky good race in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. She was involved in that just absolutely ridiculous pace battle up front, and she held on by far the best of all the speed horses that were involved in that. Latruska and all them faded pretty badly, and we know those are some nice fillies and mares. So I thought that was a better than it looked effort from She Dares the Devil, and I think she just is just so much better than most of these horses. Lady or Pauline's Pearl, I mean, I'm not really there yet. You got to get some wins outside of these, garbage tier, Houston, Zia Park, Remington, Charlestown, Prairie Meadows before I take you seriously. It kind of feels like Asmussen's been giving her the Mr. Money campaign or whoever it was that just ducks all the big competition as a 3-year-old. So, we'll see. But until proven otherwise, I think She Dares the Devil is a standout in this field.
I have nothing to add, although I do see an E8. Brian, you got anything here?
An E8 with an apropos name.
I just played Charlestown. I got nothing here.
I also play Charlestown. I bet 2.
Damn it! I'm gonna cancel my bet.
Bet the 2 and I double into the 9 next race. Oh man!
So Caleb, we're the only 2 with any standards, aren't we?
I think so.
Standards.
Yeah, Mr. Delta Downs, settle down over there.
Right. You only bald man know that uses Pantene.
He doesn't use Pantene Pro V.
Pro V1s.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't golf either.
Well, no, you know how hard it is to find a driver at 36-inch length.
He's got to sand. He's got to cut like 4 inches off the driver.
You get the telescoping handle.
Yeah. It's like the penguin. Oh well, I think that's gonna do it for us. Caleb, what do you got going on this weekend? You got another video with Capone coming up?
Yeah, we'll have something on Horse Racing Nation probably by tomorrow afternoon for previewing this Tampa Bay Derby. So it'll be a lot of what I've talked about here, but it'll be a little bit different format. So it's a fun, real quick, 8-minute video. And then that's pretty much, I think, all I'll be doing. Like this weekend and next weekend, I'll probably be pretty light. I don't care for the racing that's going on. I'll probably bet the fairgrounds a little bit, but we are getting some bad weather, so it's going to most likely be off the turf. So I'll be light, maybe just kind of spot playing some tournaments, but probably won't do too much until Louisiana Derby Day and Texas Champions Day.
If anyone can please check Caleb's work. I have a feeling that what he's doing is he's giving like 2 horses on this stream, and then he's giving 2 different horses out in Capone's video. That way he's always got it, and he's got double the coverage. It's kind of like Mark playing a horizontal, right? He's got his A's, his B's, and his C's, and he's using them all defensively. So, just double check his work. Whoever's got time there. Speaking of defensively, Mark, is skiing season over?
No, we got a little more skiing. I'll be skiing this weekend, but I'll probably be in some of the horse tourney stuff. We'll see what the weather looks like here. Where we have some weird weather up here, but little horse tourneys and Yeah, probably a little skim.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to play I'm playing the Horse Tourneys tour event tomorrow, and I'll probably play a couple of feeders to see if I can qualify in the Saturday. Because the Saturday one is like $350, which is just like obscene. I bought in last week because I had money in my account. The 190 is a little bit easier to swallow for the Friday tournament, but Saturday and Sunday are just a little bit more. So I might try and get in on a seat there. Brian, what do you got this weekend
I have a birthday party.
for you
We
or for the kids?
For the kids. We'll have a Barbie balloon and a unicorn cake, and that's what we're gonna do.
And some whiskey, hopefully.
No, they're turning 5. They have chocolate milk.
Yeah, for you though.
Well, not till they go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
But no,
You know,
it'll be a fun weekend. I'm gonna try and get my picks in for the Express Bet Beat the Host Championship.
oh shit, I gotta remember that too. Yeah,
That's Saturday. So hopefully they post those races tomorrow morning, so I know what's going on. But other than that, man, probably lay low.
They're posted already.
Oh,
They're
are they
posted
great?
already. Yeah, Shu posted them in our chat. Shout out to Sheldon. Yeah, man, white kids parties are way different than Mexican ones. I'll tell you that. Because the Mexican ones, dude, you got more Coronas than kids. So you got just cases and cases of beer and tequila everywhere. So
Well, it's also the beginning of March in northern Indiana. You can't exactly have a whole shindig. It's cold out, man.
so drink inside, dude. I
Don't.
could look at it's a wonderful thing. You see the glass? I could
Yes.
walk outside with it and come back inside and still drink.
That's because you live in an over 55 community.
I mean, basically, like the people. Yeah, I live by a lot of old people because it's like all the people who. It's like a bunch of people who like downsized and a bunch of like young people. So it's really funny. There's like no in between. Or it's people who are like trying to squeeze like 4 kids into a small condo to get into a better school district. So, yeah. But yeah, cool. Well, catch us at wrong_lead on Twitter. Obviously, all our Twitter handles here on our names, and yeah, we'll be around in Discord on Twitter. Hit us up. You got any questions? I know there's a nice, lovely in the Discord. There's a nice, lovely conversation about class, and I made the argument that it didn't matter.
Where's
And
that
Mark said it didn't matter, and then he said it did matter, and he flip flopped like just amazingly. Oh man, you should go read, Caleb. You should read that conversation because Mark basically agreed and argued with everybody. So like you just have no idea where he stands because like he was literally like, you're wrong, and he's like, okay, that I agree with, and then literally, you're wrong, okay, that I agree with, and I couldn't follow, and I was just I was out. But
he was just
it was a good conversation.
Using class defensively.
Oh yeah, he was using the class defensively. So man, I need to upload the Mark video. Instead of closing out with the Caleb video, I need the Mark video. So I'll have to get that uploaded for next time. If you haven't seen it yet, check our YouTube channel. I believe it's called 30 for 30, A Taste of Honey. So take a look at that one. But we'll catch you guys later.